Good morning, everyone. Just a quick review over conversions as well as how that applies to the pressure units we've been looking at. So one of the major questions that we looked at last unit, and we're continuing to look at this unit, is how do I convert between different units of measurement? And as a reminder, convert just means to change. Okay, and what are we changing? Units. So not quantity, but how we express. Okay, this is how we express a value. And we know that in science, most of the time numbers don't mean much without units. So here is a set of units we might be familiar with, right? So we know 1 day is equal to 24 hours. So what that means is I know that the number 1 and the number 24 don't look like they're equal in value, but they're just a different way of expressing. We know that 1 day is the same length of time as 24 hours. Now, maybe you might not have known that that's also the same length of time as 1,440 minutes and 86,400 seconds, okay? So all of those amounts are showing the same length of time. Now we can take any of those and create a conversion, all right, a conversion factor. So for example, if I take one that we know here, I know that 1 day is equal to 24 hours, okay? That's like saying 1 equals 1. All right, I can create a conversion factor or a fraction that shows that relationship. So 1 day is equal to 24 hours. And I know that this is equal to 1 because I'm dividing something by itself, all right? I can also flip that. 24 hours are equivalent to 1 day. Those are all equal to 1. So I'm not changing the numerical value. I'm just changing the units in which we express it. And these right here that I'm putting in parentheses are called conversion factors. Now, we went over this all in the first unit. So let's just do one example problem, and then we'll see how that applies to our pressure. All right, so this says, how many seconds are there in 37.5 days? So we always start with what we know. We know 37.5 days. Okay, we're going to write that value along with the units. All right, I'm going to set that, multiply that by a specific conversion factor. Okay, the units I want to get rid of go on the bottom, so I do not want to be in days any longer, so days goes on the bottom. And it says how many seconds, the unit I'm trying to convert to or change to, goes on top. Then I check my given relationships. I know up here 1 day, all right, is equivalent to 86,400 seconds. So that's what I put in. So 1 day is equal to 86,400 seconds. Okay. I'm going to set this over 1. Since I see days in the numerator and the denominator, this cancels out, right? What I'm going to actually end up doing is taking 37.5 times 86,400 to get my final answer. That is going to give me 3,240,000 seconds. Right. Now this value, 3,240,000, is the same value as 37.5 days, just expressed in different units. Okay, so converting is all about changing how we express a value in a specific unit. All right. Now, how does it apply to pressure? So our guiding question here is, how do I convert change between the different units of pressure specifically? All right. You might have seen some problems, even in our labs, that pressure comes in a lot of different units. All right. So here we say ATM represents atmospheres. Okay, have you ever heard atmospheric pressure? Okay, that's what it's referring to. KPA and PA. So KPA is kilo pascals. PA is pascals. Okay, named after a scientist. All right, here we've got a unit plus a specific element that we use in like barometric pressure. All right, so this is millimeters of mercury. We've got the unit torr, and PSI, you might see this a lot in carpentry, is pounds per square inch of space. All right, all of these values, notice this says equals, 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 are equivalent to each other. They're the same amount of pressure. They're expressed in different units. So we can use it a very similar way in conversions as we did our basic conversion. So let's take a look at this example problem. It says how many millimeters of mercury are in 2.7 atmospheres. So always kind of starting with what we're given. It looks like we're given 2.7 atmospheres. All right, I'm going to set up my blank conversion factor. All right, I know I don't want this pressure expressed in atmosphere, so I'm going to put it on the bottom to cancel it out. And it says how many millimeters of mercury. So that's what I'm going to put here in the numerator. Now I check my values, and it says 1 atmosphere, so 1, is equivalent to 760 millimeters of mercury. I set this over 1. It looks like atmospheres is in the numerator and the denominator. All right, when I do this, I'm going to end up taking 2.7 times 760. And I'm going to get 2,052 millimeters of mercury. All right, and again, this is the same amount of pressure as 2.7 atmospheres, just expressed in a different unit, right? So notice same things apply here. Start with what you're given. The unit you want to cancel out goes on the bottom of your conversion factor. What you're trying to start or what you're converting to goes on the top, all right? Your units should cancel out, and you plug your multiplication and division into your calculator, right? Time to go on to Schoology and do some practice.